Greetings and welcome to the WFH update. I'm hoping that in the near future, one of you will be saying those exact words or something similar, something to the effect, and something of your own creation, because it's an important topic and we're going to introduce it to you today, and hopefully at least one of you will be so inspired to raise your hand and say, Stan, that program is for me. Well, what is WFH and why is it important right now? Well, give us just a few minutes and we'll explain to you the importance of understanding in these COVID recovery times we've got to evaluate working from home. And thank you for your time. On this Wednesday, I'm Stan Houston, and the name of the program is The Master Entrepreneur. And it's a series of programs designed especially at this COVID-19 time to help you, let's say, recover, reset, renew, and get back, not to the normal, because that's not going to happen, but back to something new and perhaps something better, and bold and bright for you. And we are in the business of trying to put a little more hope into your life, in your business, and your world so that you can do just that. Well, WFH update. Saw the sign and I said I'm going to kind of borrow that, but working from home update. Now, one of the things we have discovered, of course, is that now thousands of millions of people have been working from home in the business that they are involved in. And companies have gone to great lengths to figure out how to make that work. And in the going to the lengths of making it work, they have learned a lot. And so today I'd like to briefly share with you and show you some of the changes that may be coming about working from home and the decisions you might have to make about this new phenomenon and how you do that. It's reported that one businessman called his real estate broker and simply said, it's working out okay. In fact, it's working out more than okay. And with a little adjustment, hey, that's why I'm calling you, we will not be renewing the lease on our building. Why should I pay all of that money for an office space and all that goes into it? This business doesn't need that kind of office space anymore. And so we will be working from home and finding ways to come together in different ways and different situations when we need to. But we certainly don't need the office as we have it anymore. Now, that's just one of the many things that are beginning to happen. In fact, in some areas, it's said of major cities, already the real estate brokers are getting a little bit panicky because that empty space in the office building may stay empty. And in fact, it might be joined by a whole lot of empty offices as people start to do life and business working from home. Now, for people like me, where my studio and my study and my office, now think of those three words, your studio, your study, and your office are focused around my home. And of course, as my wife would say, there's a downside to that, and that is sometimes you just keep working when you should stop working. That's true, and that happens. And sometimes you perhaps start working too soon, and you work too long, and you never leave it. And that's wrong too. So what does it mean now to work from home and what should we be aware of, and perhaps how should we approach it. Now, I would love to know your experience. I was talking to one of my friends who said, I am now 2 days at the office and 3 days at home. And I say, how does that work out? She says, pretty good. I have asked other people, how's working from home working? Okay. Are there things you don't like about it? Well, here's the result of a number of questions and surveys. I had a graduate instructor at the University of Minnesota who was an old Korean vet and was a teacher and a consultant and worked with many, many people. And he actually learned his business psychology as he got his degree in family systems. Think about that. He didn't have a business degree. He had studied family systems, but that is where he had learned how to be a world-class consultant. And he had a favorite little jingle. He would oftentimes sing it in the office. He'd say, there's something wrong with everything, and nothing works all the time. There's something wrong with everything, and nothing works all the time. And then he would smile. And then I once recovered and said, so, everything must be renewed. Everything must be rebuilt. Everything must be re-engineered. And he smiled and said, that's exactly true. And that's the work that most of you will have to continually do as you seek to work in the world of the marketplace today. Nothing works all the time. There's something wrong with everything. What is it? Can you find it? Can you fix it? Can you work with it? What do you do to make it work most of the time and be effective most of the time? Nothing works all the time. And of course, there's something wrong with everything. Now, what about working from home? Well, I'm going to let you sort that out. But here's the deal. I'll give you just a few things that I'm aware of that you need to know if you do that. First of all, it is going to be increasingly a reality around the world, and so you better learn to adjust to it in some way. Now, many of us, we've been doing this for some time in certain ways. Like I said, I have 3 areas: studio, study, office. Write those 3 words down because that's part of the deal when you work from home. Also, as a result of the technology, as I pointed out to one of my friends, my client who I was working for was in Australia. The person that they were projecting with, that they had hired me to work with them on, was in Dubai. And I, of course, was in Arizona. So there it was. And then I called on my friend and colleague Isaac, who's in Chennai, India. And that was the working team. Australia, Dubai, Arizona, Chennai, India. And many of you know the same similar and familiar experiences. I'm in touch with India every day. Every day. The technology makes that possible. Much of the work on my videos I simply produce here in the studio, and it goes to India, and in an hour it comes back to me or is posted to the client directly. It's an incredible world. And of course, it turns out that all of us are working from our own situations. Now, it actually may not be right at the home, but it may be a space near their home or just a separate little office or cubicle that they have rented near their home. But it does not work within the traditional world of the office as we know it today. Now, that's going to happen increasingly. And I guarantee you that every business is going to look at the proverbial cost and the proverbial expense and the proverbial profits from which works best. And again, there'll be something wrong with it, and nothing will work all the time, and we're also going to be continually working that out. So I'm just going to encourage you to think about that. Now, the other thing you're going to have to understand is just that doing so means that you're going to have to find ways to keep yourself at a high level of energy. When you are in the office, there's certainly the culture and the environment that may encourage high performance and high productive work. Now, when you don't have necessarily the culture of competition or the energy that's flowing from a good office environment, that kind of energy you're going to have to provide on your own. And so I tell people, find ways. In many cases, it's what you snack on, when you eat, how you dress. I make it very, very clear that I always dress for work. That's right. I'm old-fashioned. Even though nobody will see me, nobody like you is watching me as I perform, but I'm dressed professionally for work. Now that's me, because I know me, and I know how I respond to making my space and my place and my appearance in a way that keeps me energized and motivated. You're going to have to figure that out. So that's vital. The other thing you're going to have to worry about or wonder about is digital, virtual doesn't work all the time. You're going to have to go from the virtual to the incarnational. And that's the fancy word which means in person. You're going to have to figure out that there will be occasional and maybe more than occasional needs and means where the people have to come together. That's just going to be a fact of the human species, the human beings. We are social animals, and that's why social distancing is such an unnatural act. We're not those kind of people. We're not mavericks that roam the plains. We herd together a lot. And as one person pointed out, trying to keep children at social distance is nuts. Children will not social distance. They just don't operate that way. And so you're going to have to figure out how to do that. And now, of course, a pitch. You're going to have to figure out how to use the broadcasting communication systems. There will be a little program this week called Your Zoom Stuff Zucks, and it does. I have been involved in a number of Zoom conferences, and most of them are terrible. They're just terrible. You need to learn some broadcast, some performing, some radio, some television, some ways to engage people. Having 30 people in a conference doesn't work. Now, if you want 30 people or 300 people, it has to be a very different show and presentation. And so, remember now, you will have to gain, and we can help you. You're going to have to learn how to become broadcasters and performers and learn how to use the radio and television media. And it will not just be Zoom. It will be podcasting, just what we're doing here. It'll be video presentations, Vimeo, YouTube, or those kinds of presentations. It will be more and more where you will literally communicate through audio means only. Everything is recorded. Remember that. All of that's going to happen if we move more and more into the work from home. There we go. I hope in the last 10 minutes you learned something to look out for. But now I want you to look for the opportunity. I'm Stan Houston. The program is The Master Entrepreneur, and we're here to help you revive, rescue, rate, rave, restart from COVID-19. Now, here's the deal. Some of you right now are saying, work from home. And you've got all kinds of ideas from your experience. Okay, I don't want to do a podcast series called WFH Update. I could. I don't want to. I want you to do that. I want you to contact me and say, Stan, could you teach me a little bit and coach me? I'd like to do a podcast on how to work from home. Boy, I could do a whole lot. I could interview people. I could talk to people. I could come up with good ideas about making working from home work. I could do that. And right now, I know a number of people that I'm going to ask to think about that. You decide to put together a little maybe weekly podcast that people could listen to who are working from home, that they could find helpful and useful and practical. I would love one of you to become the master entrepreneur, the teacher, the speaker, the coach, the guide, the facilitator, and helping people online, living and working at home, and you be the guide and helper and teacher and speaker and broadcaster to help them get better with WFH Update. I would appreciate if you would consider doing just that. All right, work from home update. Why don't you start talking, teaching, and thinking about that? And you know what? You might get paid a lot of money as organizations ask you to come and speak and teach and coach and consult and help them and their employees work from home. You might be doing that. You might have people all over the world listening to your program. Hey, here's what you do. Radio Edge 77, because you're going to get a Radio Edge. Radio Edge 77 at gmail.com. Radio Edge 77 at gmail.com. If you can't remember that, Stan Houston at gmail.com. Stan Houston at gmail.com. Tell me, you'd like to get involved in being on the radio to help people doing their WFH work. Wouldn't that be fun? I look forward to that being something that is good that comes to you from the difficult times we're going through. Best and blessings. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye for now.